Hey there, retailers. Today, we're going to be talking about planning. Are you a planner or do you just wing it as you go along? Now more than ever, retailers need to be prepared. This past week, inside my inner circle, we spent a 3 hour live session doing some strategic planning. And it was the first time a lot of retailers had done it. And I wanted to come on and share information for those of you who have no idea where to start. So I wanted to share today some simple and easy steps for you to take just to sit down and get a plan. It doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to include massive spreadsheets, doesn't have to be overwhelming, but you do need to sit down, take some time, and make a plan. They say if we fail to plan, we're planning to fail, right? So we don't want to be those retailers. It's not overwhelming, it's not complicated, and it's going to save you mental and emotional stress as you move through the third quarter. It's going to help you reach those goals and it's going to just make your life so much easier. So, listen up. I'm going to share some tips on how you can start your strategic plan for Q3 with ease and confidence. So grab your coffee and let's go. Running a creative retail business really shouldn't be so hard. I'm Wendy Batten, and this is the Creative Shop Talk podcast. Good morning, friends. I'm popping in today to talk about strategic planning. My friends, inside my inner circle this week, we did a live strategic planning session together. We did almost 2.5, maybe close to 3 hours of sitting down as a group doing a strategic plan. And for a lot of retailers, they'd never done one before. I know that I was in that category years ago, and it was, a little bit challenging. And everybody needs to start where they are. But I'm kind of curious if you do a strategic plan for your business. Do you even know what a strategic plan is? Are you a planner or are you not a planner? A lot of retailers that I work with are winging it. That's when they come to me, we're winging it, sort of not making plans and just hoping for business, hoping for traffic, hoping for income, hoping for people to walk through the door. Guys, hope is not a strategy. So we can easily put a strategic plan in place. I work with creative shop owners all over the world, helping them with the business side of running a creative business. I work mostly with hobbyists turned brick and mortar retailers, creative souls, artists, painters. It's just such a joy. And I want to invite you to join over and to jump over into my free Facebook group called Rockstar Creatives, where we're going to continue this conversation about strategic planning. But I wanted to pop in really quick and talk to you today about some really quick, easy ways to start strategic planning. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't have to have a business degree. It's not something that you have to, go to school and study. So, again, inside my inner circle this week, we had a live strategic planning session. We did 2.5 hours, and retailers joined in. We had a wonderful experience walking through all of the steps to help them sit down and put that strategic plan in place. So some of the easiest things, and well, there were some aha moments. First of all, some retailers again had never done this, but honestly, it's super simple. So I'm going to give you a few tips and a few steps so you can get started on your own, even if you're not a member of the inner circle. So the first thing and the main part of doing a strategic plan is just knowing where you're going and what you want from your business and sitting down and taking the time to plan and not let things happen to you and not be reactive, but to be proactive. If you wrap your mind around that and that you are a business owner that needs to have a direction in your business, that's half the battle, my friends. And that's where a lot of us get stuck. We sort of were just in the, kind of winging it week by week by week. We don't want to be in that position. Q3 right now is super pivotable. You guys know I can't say that word, but it's very important right now that we're paying attention to what we're doing, especially in the climate we're in right now. We have to have a goal and we have to be willing to pivot and shift how we get to that goal right now. The first thing that we do is we want to set those goals on paper. And so I like to set 5 goals, and they include revenue goals. They include maybe I want a new website, maybe I need to refresh my studio, all of those kind of things. What do I want to accomplish in the next 90 days in my business? Seriously, it's as simple as that. What do you want to accomplish? A quarter is only 90 days. It's really not that many days. So sometimes we might have all these big giant goals, and we have a tendency to put 5,000 things down that we're going to do. We're going to do all these things. But when we start planning that and looking at that, it's not going to work. So, the first and most important one is your revenue goal. So, understanding how much money you need to make and how much money you have to keep the lights on, understanding budgets, assigning revenue streams and budgets to each one of those. Revenue streams, and then taking a deep look at your expenses. So understanding your money situation first and foremost is is the key. And if you don't have a handle on that, I urge you to get a handle on that and understand how much money, your revenue goal. It's not a want. It's not like I hope to make this much money. I will tell you, my inner circle members, a lot of them over the last quarter, the last 2 quarters, some of them have been rock starring sales, but some of them have made less sales, but way more profit because they're getting really lean on their expenses. So it's all about profit, right? So that's one thing. Another thing that I really like to encourage you as you're looking through into Q3 is to look back into, take a step back to what happened in Q2. I know Q2 was crazy for a lot of you in good ways and in bad, but what are you super proud of? What did you do in Q2? I like to ask myself some questions when I look back. What are some things I'm proud of? What are some things that didn't work? What are some things that did work? I think we need to do a little bit of a evaluation as we're setting these goals for Q3. But really, it does go around the revenue goals and what we need. And you really need to understand your revenue goals. And of course, inside the inner circle, we kind of went into a deep dive on how you figure that number out, and hopefully you have some support with that, and can do that. If you're an inner circle member and you haven't done it yet, go do that, because we've been working on that hard this week. The next thing is understanding, once we know what our revenue goals are and what our goals are, we can do our marketing plan towards those goals. We're not throwing spaghetti at the wall. You've heard me say that before. We're not, we can strategically do attract strategies. We know how many people we need to make the money. We start looking at metrics, we start looking at numbers, and it all makes sense. It comes together. So understanding where you're going, and then understanding how we're going to market, how we're going to get our traffic, what are our attract strategies, what are the engaged strategies we're putting in place. And that means, how are we taking care of our current, how are we getting people in the door or online and to come into our stores? How are we selling inside our stores now? That's part of the marketing and sales strategy that we're going to attach to those specific goals that we have. If we know that we want so much in workshops, or we want so much in custom work, well, that's what we're going to be promoting and talking about. We're not going to bother talking about things that we're not promoting or selling, right? So it all comes together. It also helps us with our strategies for promotion. So we take the calendar out. That's what we did inside the inner circle here. We pull out our calendar and we start looking at what are the events and what are the things, the big rocks. Big rocks mean things that are important to you and your family, and what are the dates you need to block off. And it really helps you take those goals and those revenue goals and your marketing plans, and we start planning them out on a calendar. It's as simple as that. We start planning things out on a calendar. We have promotional calendars, so we know that what weeks we're like driving sales to certain things. Our staff will have a complete understanding of what we're doing. Our team, if you have a team working with you, anybody can do this, whether you have just yourself, one woman show, one man show, or whether you have a large team. It's really important that everybody's in on where we're going and what we're doing. And as far as the planning goes, this also goes to where do you need support for those things? Who do you need to reach out to? What education do you need? If I know that this month I'm totally focusing on one certain area of my business, maybe it's redoing my workshop. Let's just keep going with that theme. or I want to expand my workshop, or I want to get virtual workshops running, or something along that. Well, that's what I'm going to be looking for support for. That's where I'm going to be listening to podcasts and reading books and educating myself, or asking for help, or finding coaches and all of that kind of thing. I'm not going to waste my time, like, because there's always things we can be learning, there's always things we can be stacking in our head. But if we're focused on those goals, and we know that those are the things that we want to do this month, or those, we can really get that squirrel brain a little bit tamer, and we can start focusing on just what we need to do. So literally, it just starts with a plan, my friends. It's not that complicated. We start with where we want to go. And yes, I know things have been crazy and things change all the time. This climate is so strange right now in a lot of areas, but if we know what we need and we know where we're going, even if we have to take a lot of detours, because there's been a lot of detours, we all know that. At least if we have the goals, we can keep bringing ourselves back aligned to get to those goals. We can get there. I promise you, we can get there. And having numbers and having budgets and having things like specific revenue goals for every revenue stream that you have in your store. And I have retailers say to me sometimes, well, I don't know, what do you mean revenue streams? Maybe it's different paint brands. What's the services that you do? What are your high margin items? Where are you making money? These are all the things that we talk about when we're breaking down strategic plans. So I wanted to pop in today and just remind you, get your strategic plan in place for Q3. Even if you don't know what you're doing, sit down, reach out, get some help, look for support, jump into the Rockstar Creatives if you have to, that is, or if you'd like to go in there, we will be discussing this as well in there. Get the support that you need. Our inner circle is not open right now, but we will be opening again in the future. We just had our launch, and our new members came in last week. So we started them off with a bang with a strategic plan. But you can jump on our wait list as well too. I will post that here, and we will be opening up again. I have a lot of people that have been sort of spinning, and I did notice inside again my inner circle when I did the strategic plan. There was a lot of retailers that said, "I don't know what I'm doing," but they showed up, and to me that is. This is what we need to do to move our businesses forward right now. So I hope, and I want to encourage you to just take those tips and do your own plan right now, and get moving and get started. It's super important for us as I know most people I work with are creatives first, and they just are uncomfortable with the business side, but that is what we're doing here. We are in business. We are business owners. We are CEOs. We are the creative visionary that has to take the responsibility and do the hard things, which is strategic planning. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. I encourage you again to visit us on the Rockstar Creatives. It's my group where all creatives are coming together. Creative shop owners come together, and we would love to have you over there as well too. That is my free group where you can jump in. Anybody can jump in, and we'd love to have you over there. So, okay, friends, I just wanted to pop on really, really quickly. It's the beginning of Q3. I just wanted to give a little bit of encouragement that we can all do this. Everybody can do this. Everybody should be doing some form of strategic planning for your Q3. Please reach out if you need support. I still have availability. I do work one-on-one with clients as well too. So if you need some support, I am available. I have a few spots left for Q3. Actually, I work in quarterlies, so there we go. But I wanted to come in here and let you know that. It's just really important to make sure that you have a vision for your business and a goal, and smart goals. Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound is what a smart goal is. So make sure you have those in your plan as well too. So, all right, guys, have a fantastic day. We'll see you soon.
Hey, thanks for joining me today. I know how precious your time is, and I'm so appreciate you taking time out of your crazy day to be here with us. All the links for today's show can be found at wendybatten.com/podcast. We'd also like to invite you to come over and continue the conversation over on my free Facebook group. It's called Rockstar Creatives. I'm going to be popping in there live every week to continue the conversation, talk a little bit about what we spoke about today. And I'd love for you to join us over there, Rockstar Creatives on Facebook. I'd also love to ask, if it's not too much trouble, if you could leave me a review and let me know what you think of the podcast. If you're loving the show, be sure that you're subscribing to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. I'd hate for you to miss one. It's been such a pleasure to be here with you today. I'll see you next week here on the Creative Shop Talk podcast.